you everybody for joining us today. I'm here with Marlaena Henry, the wonderful director, writer, producer of Dream Boy. It is a really unique film, so well done, so interesting, and like I said, really unique in a lot of ways. So just first of all, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Give us a little bit of background on you first before we really jump into the project. Is this your first film? Are you in school for filmmaking? Just give us, a little background.
Yeah, so I graduated in May of 2024 from VCU Arts Cinema. It's in Richmond, and it was an awesome program. Could not recommend it more. It's essentially 4 years of film school, but done in 3 years because each summer you do an intensive. So it's like a semester's worth of work in 6 to 8 weeks. And during those 6 to 8 weeks, you're making films the entire time. And so that's, I guess, the extent of my film school background. But I didn't really get the filmmaker's bug until ninth grade. I've always been a creative person, always been interested in all forms of art. But it wasn't until I saw The Last Jedi that I walked out of the theater thinking, I want to make something like that. And I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan, but it was just something about that movie in particular that really captivated me and made me rethink the way I could pursue a career in the arts, or it just made it feel tangible.
Wow.
And I was just really struck by that. And so from that point on, I was like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. And so since then, I did some films in high school. But throughout school, I made a few films, some on my own time, some for class. For our last summer intensive, I was selected to be the director of one of the films. So that was, I guess, my first big girl film school film. And then Dream Boy was developed partially through different classes I took, but a lot of it was just passion, just the dream.
Aw. That's wonderful. So, it sounds like you were supported along your path, right? Like, you didn't have voices telling you, oh no, being an accountant is so safe.
Absolutely. My parents have always been super supportive of me, and they're quite creative themselves. And so when I said I want to pursue a career as a filmmaker, they're like, all right, well, let's look into film schools and let's take this seriously. And so it's nice having that foundational support or support from my foundation, that it honestly made pursuing this as a career, it didn't seem impossible. It felt very approachable or tangible. I don't know. Feels like the word of the day.
Yeah.
But, and then I had a fantastic film teacher in high school, Miss Reyes, and it was because of her that I actually decided I'm gonna go to film school. I was kind of teetering, should I be a history teacher? Should I go into architecture? There were a lot of things swirling around in high school, but it wasn't until her and the relationship I had developed with her that I was like, no, this is what I'm meant to do, and she made it feel possible.
We're lucky enough we all get at least one Miss Reyes in our whole school.
Yes. Thankfully, I've had multiple professors and mentors that I still keep in touch with that have really shaped me and encouraged me to be the filmmaker that I am now, or just starting out to be.
That's awesome. I have a question. I'm just curious. I wonder, was there a difference in the ratio in your film school of men versus women?
I feel like it was pretty equal.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, there was nothing, at least in my class, nothing ever felt really like, oh, I'm the only woman in the room kind of thing. It felt very equal and very, a lot of respect is put into the program, or like it's built into it. And so, yeah, I think that was just kind of established from day one that anyone could make films. Like, you were picked to be here because you got what it takes.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. So like, because, there's people that, you know, they kind of play with the idea of film school. And some people are like, oh, well, self-taught might be better, but and from your experience, you would say film school is a positive and you got a lot from it.
Absolutely. I would say from really any experience, you get what you put into it. So there are people that go to maybe some of the best film schools, or just any film school that they could go to, and if they're not passionate being there, they're not going to maximize what they could get from that experience. Same with being self-taught. Like, it's all knowing yourself, knowing what is your best learning environment, and using that as a stepping stone.
Wonderful. Well, very well said. So let's get into this movie because I love the fact that, spoiler alert, it's silent. It's a silent film. What drove that decision for you?
To make it silent?
Yeah.
That is a good question. I actually don't know what the exact inciting moment of when I made that decision. It just always developed as a film without dialogue. The impetus for this film started with a class assignment where we had to make a short that was 100 seconds or less, and it had to be in 5 components that you could rearrange and still tell the same story.
Interesting.
And it was a wacky assignment, but that's where I started, I guess, sketching out the idea for Dream Boy. And from that, I believe the assignment said no dialogue. No, it did not. But just the way it developed, from the get-go, it had no dialogue.
Wow. Yeah, no, I thought it was such a bold choice, but at the same token, the music for it is great. Was that written specifically for this film?
Yes, it was written for the film, but after editing was almost done. So this wonderfully talented musician, Sahara Moon, she's actually the daughter of my mom's best friend from high school.
Oh, wow.
And she's out in Nashville doing her thing, and is just really talented. And our moms were talking one day, and my mom was like, Marlena's looking for some music for her film. She's trying to think of composers and whatnot. And then her mom pitched her daughter, and we had one Zoom meeting. I showed her a rough cut. I sent her a playlist that I made while I was writing the script. So music was always part of the story from the get-go. Like, I would hear a song playing in a store, I'd be like, oh, that feels like Girls' Mantra, or, oh, this song makes me think of that scene, or that's how that scene could play out, and whatnot. And then I gave her 3 words for what I wanted the music to feel like. It was peppy, jazzy, and whimsical. And within like a week, she had all those songs. Yeah, it was insane. She's so talented. And yeah, it was like a match made in heaven.
That is amazing. Wow. Yeah, I would think it's like, like a year-long process at least to get, all that now. Wow, that's just amazing.
It was
Wow.
maybe like a month at the most from talking to then having like, okay, here's like a little sketch of what I was thinking, to then actually recording the final song.
Wow. Wow. Yay, moms.
Never underestimate the connections moms can give you.
Yeah. There's something too. I don't know if it wasn't deliberate. There's something about it that it has like an old school charm. Like, like if you made this movie in the 50s, let's say, I think it would seem at home, you know? Was that deliberate or did it just rub off somehow from something in your
Yeah,
psyche?
I mean, when I was getting closer to locking down the script and the closer we got to production, I was watching a few silent films just to really get the gist of how to direct the actors and their movements and how to use their body to speak rather than their words. So there was definitely an influence from the silent era that was deliberate and from the beginning. But I think just the grandeur and charm was maybe an unintentional influence. Like, I've consumed media from those eras and appreciate them, but it wasn't like, oh, this is specifically from this movie and that's from that. There were, I don't know, little bits and pieces from movies of all genres.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no worries.
I love the costuming, like that jacket that, the ticket movie ticketer Usher has on, like that pointed to that kind of mystique as well for me. Yeah, like this really, it's such a super detailed film. How long did it take to make? You said like the impetus started in film school, but
Yeah, so I would say it took about 2 years to write the script on and off. And I was fortunate enough to develop it through different classes with multiple professors or some of the same professors again for a different class. So these were all the people that helped me along the way were people that were really familiar with the story and familiar with me as a person. But production was 3.5 days.
wow.
And then post was 8 months.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, no, like I said, just super detailed. I love the little animation that you've thrown in as well. The credits are so beautiful. The opening credits. What inspired that? That
Yeah. I think, like you had mentioned, that old school charm, just feeling really drawn to the lush typography and not contrasting, like a somewhat monochromatic look. Just embracing the romanticism of it all.
Wow. That's awesome. And what's been like people's reaction to the film? What have the actors said when they look at the finished product? Like, yeah, if you could give us some little audience feedback that you've gotten so far.
Yeah. I mean, I think people really like it. It's always hard for me to, I guess, brag about my own work or like, I'm like, it's all right. It's a good film. Like, I tried my best. But if I'm trying to be objective, as an outsider looking in, I think people really enjoy it and can find a piece of themselves in it in ways that maybe something is so obvious to them and they just look right past it, or they remember the awkward little school crushes and just I think there's a little piece of all of us in Girl's story, and I think it really endears people. It's endearing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, ditto. In casting, were these people fellow classmates, or did you reach out through different avenues?
This is a good story. So I actually wrote Dream Boy for my dear friend Abby Reese. She's the lead. So I always wanted her to be in it. She had to be in it, whether she liked it or not. She loves to act. She's very talented. I consider her, this is way too flattering on my end, but I consider her the Saoirse Ronan to my Greta Gerwig.
Aw, beautiful.
So she'll always be a part of my creative process one way or another.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, she's one of my dearest friends. And it was really fun when we were filming this. We were actually neighbors, so it was really fun. And the male lead, the ticket booth operator, we initially had my friend Avery Michael Johnson cast. I had worked with him twice prior. Him and Abby Reese actually have been in a film of mine together. And he's super talented. He also went to VCU, but for theater. I love working with him and thought he would be perfect for this film. But the day before filming, he got the flu.
Oh.
And so, at a time where you could easily be like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Do we cancel everything? Like, how do we figure this out? My executive producer and I, we were just really calm and level-headed and just, all right, let's figure out what we need to do. Like, let's keep this ball rolling. And so she reached out to actor friends of hers, and this one friend of her, who she didn't realize was in Atlanta at the time, she was like, hey, are you free this weekend to be in a film? And he's like, I live in Atlanta, but my friend lives kind of close. He's a really good actor. You should reach out to him. So she texts him briefly, tells him what's going on, sends him my number. We have a little text conversation. We have like a 30-minute phone call the night before. And he shows up on set the next day.
Wow.
And the first thing he had to do on set was wear a skin-tight green suit and slow dance with a stranger in a bedroom with a room full of people staring silently. And that really broke the ice. Because I think, especially in the, as we see throughout the movie, I think their chemistry is undeniable. But yeah, we cast him sight unseen. Like, we didn't even have a current photo of him. His profile picture was like a silhouette, and it was like dark, and we didn't know what he looked like. So we were really taking a leap of faith.
That is amazing. Like you said, you could have crumbled under the pressure. Oh, we have to recast. Let's take a month off or something, find the perfect person. But like you said, leap of faith. And no, yeah, he was great in it too. That's really amazing. That is a great story.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, trial by fire.
Yeah. It was a really great learning experience. And honestly, that was the biggest issue we ran into. Everything else felt, I mean, obviously we solved this challenge. We finished the film. But everything else felt so doable. Sure, things didn't go the way we thought they would, but we always found a way through. And I mean, the fact that we cast an actor sight unseen, didn't know really his resume or an acting experience, just going off of a friend of a friend's vouch for him. I think it worked out for the better.
Yeah, yeah. See, yeah, they say, the art calls the person, not vice versa chooses the person. Yeah. Yeah, no, he was great. And like you said, yeah, the chemistry is undeniable. Yeah. No, like I said, I really enjoyed this film. I wonder, are you going to make a part two? Not that you really need to. I mean, it is a complete, but is this story going to continue in some form, or are you going to do another project?
Well, right now I'm pursuing other projects, but I don't know. You ask a good question, and I have been asked this before, especially like while developing the story for people that have seen it each step of the way. I think the story is told incomplete. Like it's we see all that we need to see for these people. The only thing I would think is maybe just make it again and see what we could do different, like how to expand it, get into those little nitty gritty details. But I like the way Dream Boy is on its own, the story it is.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I'm always curious with short films because sometimes people make them as for a sizzle reel or, like, oh, we had a small budget, so now I want to get a bigger budget or, what have you. But no, again, I can't say enough good things about it because there's a charm to it. Like, seriously, it feels like such a break from everything that's going on in the world, you know?
Yeah, I mean that was the intent with this film, and really all films that I make is to bring people a sense of hope through my films. Like it might not have a happy ending per se, but as long as there's that sliver of hope that you could grab onto by the end of the film, then I've done my job in telling my stories. And I mean, filmmaking has been very instrumental into the woman I'm becoming, that I am now. As in high school, I had a lot of health issues and missed a lot of school, and films were something that brought me joy and hope. And so it was during those times of at home that I was learning, like I found my way to learn while still being, homebound at throughout high school. And so I want to return the favor with my films.
Wow, that is super amazing. That is super amazing. Just see, that's beautiful. Like some people like just see like a film like, oh, it's entertainment. I killed an hour before going to bed. I did something in the afternoon I had off or something, but you really used it like as a tool of introspection at a time when it seems like you needed one and helped you turn a bad situation into a good. So that's just amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, no, thank you. That is really cool. Really. Wow. Um, do you want to say the other projects you're pursuing right now, or is that still a little bit under wraps?
Nothing's top secret.
Okay.
I'm in very, very early development of another short film. Hopefully, I would like to cast my friend Avery Michael Johnson, the one who was sick before filming. This would be his time to shine. My friend Abby Reese, she actually wrote this story.
Oh, interesting.
She's a very talented writer. She's just great at a lot of things. But writing is her jam, and it's a really funny, kind of weird comedy. And so, yeah, very early in development. And I'm working on a mini documentary for the Smithsonian's Center for Cultural Heritage, or Center for Cultural Heritage and Folklife. I interned there last summer, and that ended in December. And I had one mini doc published on their YouTube, but I'm working on a second one as a volunteer.
Oh, interesting. Wow, that's really cool. How did you end up there at the Smithsonian? I think you were saying you were even entertaining being a history teacher at one point. So is this just like a hobby of yours? Are you a
Yeah,
historian enthusiast?
I
History enthusiast.
yeah, I always really liked school. I was, I guess, a nerd in that sense. Like, first day of school was my favorite holiday. But I grew up in the DC area. I grew up right outside DC. So the Smithsonian museums were always a part of my childhood. Like, it kind of blows my mind that most people have to pay to go to a museum. Like, Smithsonians are all free. So, yeah, reaching graduation, looking at different internships, and I saw one at the Folk Life Center that I think my mom may have found it actually, but came across an internship there that was like filmmaking based. It was I was surprised that the Smithsonian would even have something like that, but of course they would. And I applied and wasn't expecting anything to come of it. And then, like a couple months later, I got an email asking for an interview. And then, yeah.
Wow. That is so awesome because I think you're so inspiring because it seems like you've gone through a lot, you know, and here you are on the other side flourishing. So I just think that's amazing.
Thank you. Everything that I went through, I mean, I believe this for everyone, but I'm grateful for those challenging, difficult experiences because it helped me. It gave me the tools I needed to get to where I am now to face the challenges I more recently came across or will come across again in the future. So yeah, I'm grateful for those hardships.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah, yeah. Wow. This is so great. I thank you so much for your time today. You know, yeah, again, I can't say enough good things about your film. It just really brings a smile to my face. You know, I've watched it a few times already, and yeah, I'm just like, yeah, this is really cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the kindness. Funny thing is, I don't even like rom-coms or romantic movies. Don't like them at all.
I was gonna say though, but it doesn't feel like a rom-com because I really am, you know, because a lot of them, the way they're done, I think they're very disempowering to women in the sense that it feels like, you know, the guy is the prize, as long as we get that, I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, a happy marriage is a blessing. Everybody wants that stability in that partnership, I would think. But of course, it's also okay to be alone. But yeah, just the way they're done, or sometimes they feel contrived, or like it's just that, or life is meaningless. There's always like the friend character, So, but yeah, and this doesn't feel like that. It feels like more organic. It just feels like the story of somebody like, oh, I feel like, when she's like in the diner and she's thinking of things, I feel like there's something out there for me. Maybe she's not even quite sure of who or what, so I think you did a great job because, and I don't know if this was deliberate too, because I think a lot of times people kind of block some potential, men and women I think are guilty of this, block some potential good partner, let's say, good match, because of some physical, expectation that they set up. And the way you crafted it, where he's like ambiguous, right, throughout the whole thing, Was that deliberate? Were you going for that specific message?
I don't know if it was deliberate at the beginning. The development of the story just kind of came in. I had these images that I knew I wanted the scene to end in this location, and I knew I wanted someone to be moving like this. And so I just kind of filled in the blanks. But as I continued to develop the story, it was brought to my attention that this is kind of like switching to the female gaze, but personality based. Like, we don't know what this guy looks like. And it's clear she's got a life of her own before she has this romantic awakening. She's she likes her books, she likes her math. She's got a life. And not to say that you need romance in your life, or that you're not experiencing life if you don't have that, or whatever. Romance doesn't make a complete life, or lack of it doesn't make one either. But it's something that she's discovering for herself, because she wants to. And it wasn't until maybe like the day before film, like close to filming, but it didn't become solidified till we were in post, that I realized, oh, I put myself in this film. I am super oblivious when it comes to romantic interests. Like, goes right over my head. Like, you would have to say, Marlaena, I'm in love with you, for me to know you're in love with me. But yeah, like, it's all just that kind of getting to choose it for yourself, discovering it for yourself, and still being a whole person with or without.
That's very well said. Very, yes, and encapsulating. Believe it or not, I did an interview, and I was not aware of this, but another film we have in a festival is called Two Women Breaking Shackles, and it's all about how in South Korea, women are literally like in fear for their lives if they walk around with short hair and without makeup on. If they have a boyfriend, there's an actual term for a safe breaking up, like, because there's so much violence perpetuated towards women for just leaving a relationship. So yeah, like, I mean, it's really about empowerment and being your own self, and and loving yourself, and being able to just have that courage to be yourself and be out there, single or in a partnership, and yeah, there's so much anxiety and pressures that people can place on you that you can really lose your identity to it.
Yeah, and that was something that was deliberate in this story. Is I didn't want, specifically women, I didn't want them to feel embarrassed of how they express joy. I didn't want, like, there's still female empowerment in giggling over girly stories, and just like, I didn't want people to have to shy away from doing those pink frilly things because, like, oh, it's not empowering enough. Like, I don't know. I wanted to encourage people to just express their joy the way they want to.
Yeah, no, it's a double-edged sword out there. Like, like, if you just, like, like you say, giggle or laugh with reckless abandon, people will be, oh, she's not serious. Maybe she's not professional. She's just a girl, but you're suppressing, it's just as damaging. Yeah, no, it's true. It's, yeah, no, beautiful. Again, just really well done. Such attention to detail, and yeah, it really just as you said, brings hope.
Thank you. I'm glad that comes across. I want people to feel good when they're watching this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mission accomplished. Okay, I think we're good unless there's anything else you wanted to add.
Just thrilled to be included, thrilled that this film touched you and hopefully touches others. Yeah, couldn't be more grateful for the experience of this film and the continued experiences it will bring.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah. And I thank you again for choosing the festival. And yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you so much again, Marlene. I think you're awesome.
Thank you. It was great meeting you, Katerina.
Same here. Same here. God bless you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Sword fight, king of the hill. Fireflies and jars divine, wonder bars and dungaree. Clumsy fingers chase the tadpoles in the muddy pond. Soul made wander the nipping shore.